There's one waiting. Well, that's not working, is it?
Hi,
Hey.
welcome back.
Yeah, thank you.
So you just want to do what you did last time, just when our printer present, we'll just come in then and,
Yeah, it's probably
yeah,
the best thing, I think.
okay,
I think that works for
Yeah.
everybody.
yeah, let's see, we'll probably just sit there or just go.
Yeah, come on in or sit there or right here or whatever, so.
Yeah,
Cheryl might sit there in front of
okay, yeah, anyway, I'll just watch online and come in.
Yeah.
Okay,
that'll be fun.
sounds good.
Maybe pause the recording up on your left.
Wow, you're an expert on it.
Here's our flag.
Cars.
There you go. And then let's,
Thank you.
We're gonna turn our backs on them. I think they'll see the flag.
let's get this bill.
Right.
Do I need to share the screen?
Let's get the share the screen up.
If you go to link, if you're on our
Oh,
website,
link.
see the link over there, yeah, sorry about that.
You know, my wife bought these, so I look cooler, but I think the little loops are shorter than the blue ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a blue ears
I
on.
bought this box at Home Depot and they're like soft and stretchy.
Ooh, look at that.
Nice.
Right?
She did it on
The
purpose.
Home Depot.
Did you notice they're made in China?
It is, it's hard to find them if you can do it this way.
We got one in the waiting room.
In one country to start a pandemic and make
Yeah,
it terrible.
yours now.
Right, look like Prince Charles.
That's right.
Well, this is the population songs in the room.
That's what I'm trying to kind of keep that one in my
So
phone.
ears, I don't know, ears.
It works.
Okay,
Ready?
you ready?
I just write it
Good
out.
to go?
Everybody ready? Everybody at home ready? Here we go. Okay, good morning. Everybody, welcome to BCAG Board of Directors meeting, December 10th, 2020. First thing we'll start with, please join me in a salute to the flag of our nation. Ready, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And next up, please call the roll.
Okay, Board Member Conley,
Here.
Board Member Lucero,
Here.
Board Member Ritter,
Present.
Board Member Lambert,
Here.
Board Member Teeter,
Here.
Board Member Bush, alternate.
He's here.
He's here, but actually Angela's the only representative today from Big. She's just listening in, so he's technically not on the board today.
Okay. Board Member Thompson, here. Board Member Bruce Johnson. Board Member Reynolds. Board Member Jones, here. Okay.
Okay, before we start, just, I think the best way I've found to run these meetings when it's remote or a blend is that we'll call a roll on each item to see if there's a comment. And it may take a little longer because each person an equal opportunity. So know that you will get called on to make a comment on anything. At this time, would anyone like to pull anything from the consent agenda? And we'll call a roll on that and see. Do I have to call a roll?
I don't think you have to call roll if somebody says something.
All right, does anybody want to do anything? Let's just verbally do that.
This is Deborah. I was just wondering about the court claim. Since we've never gone through that since I've been on this board, I wonder about those and if this is just a standard procedure.
It is. We got a request for any information for the accident that happened at SR 99 in Neal. And we're responding that BCAG doesn't have any liability in this case.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Are there any other questions, comments, or does anybody want to pull anything? Consent agenda. Hearing none, somebody make a motion to approve, please.
Move to adopt consent agenda.
Second.
First, second here. Any comment? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Hearing none, passes unanimously. Okay, we got away with it. Okay. Items for action, number 5, approval of 2020 BCAG Regional Housing Needs Plan. Chris?
Good morning. Good everyone hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Great. Yeah, so the final 2020 regional housing needs
Tammy, can
plan.
you hear him?
There's a echo.
It's an echo. We need-
Yeah.
This is usually because of the host needs to mute something, I can't remember, but creates an echo.
I don't know if you want to do it in here or.
I certainly can.
He's in his office.
I don't think he knows he's on.
He did.
So we can't hear you guys in there now.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's much better.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Are you good, Supervisor Ritter? All right.
And this is Chris again. Is my voice not echoing? Am I good?
Yes,
Good.
we got thumbs up.
All right. Perfect. So yeah, item number 5, the final BCAG 2020 Regional Housing Needs Plan has been completed. The purpose of this item today is to open a public hearing and see if there's any final comments on the 2020 Regional Housing Needs Plan. And if there's no significant comments, staff's recommending that the board adopt the 2020 Regional Housing Needs Plan by resolution 2020/2021-07. The board may recall at the last meeting in October, the final allocation methodology was approved. And then we also reviewed the draft Regional Housing Needs Plan with you as well. And this initiated a 45-day review period on the draft plan, which closed on December 6th. And during that period, we received no further comments from member jurisdiction planning staff, stakeholder groups, or any members of the public. And so we're recommending today that the board approve this final plan. It's essentially unchanged from the version that we reviewed with you in October. I just wanted to point out, as I think you're all aware, that we've coordinated extensively with member jurisdiction planning staff through the development of this plan. We also had a key stakeholder group that provided input and was informed throughout. And we've included in the memo kind of the key steps that were taken to sort of arrive today with the final plan. And I think the board is familiar with those steps. We've shared those with you at a prior meeting. And so, essentially this final plan meets all of the requirements set forth in California Government Code Section 65584 as required. And so with that, again, we're required to open a public hearing for any further comments. And then staff's recommendation is that the board adopt if there are no further significant comments.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments by any board members here in the room? How about anybody on the Zoom here? Any questions or comments? So is this simply to open, or do you want a motion to approve to? Motion to approve.
Hearing.
Okay, at this time, we open the hearing. Is there any public comment on this matter? By email or otherwise? Hearing none. Now I need a motion to approve.
I'll make it second.
I have a motion and a second right here. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passes unanimously. Wow, moving on. Okay, number 6. Thank you, Chris. All right, next up, public hearing and approval of 2020 Regional Transportation Plan, RTIP, and Sustainable Community Strategy, SCS, and certificate of the final supplemental environmental impact report.
Good morning. Could you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. BCAG is required to adopt a regional transportation plan, sustainable community strategy with an environmental impact report every 4 years. The RTP SES is required to be adopted by the BCAG board this month, December 2020. The RTP SES is BCAG's long-range transportation plan, which covers the years 2020 to 2040. Primarily, it serves as the foundation for the future development of the Regional Transportation Improvement Program for STIP programming, such as the Highway 70 corridor, as well as serves as the foundation for the development of the Federal Transportation Improvement Program. Once adopted by the BCAG board, it can be amended at any time. The RTP SES contains the following elements. It includes a policy, a sustainable community strategy, an action element, and a financial element. It also includes an air quality conformity analysis and determination, demonstrating that the region complies with the applicable federal air quality requirements. It also includes an environmental impact report ensuring that the region is complying with the California Environmental Quality Act requirements. The RTP typically takes 2 years to complete. It is developed in consultation with BCAG's advisory committees, the Transportation Advisory Committee, which includes representatives from the city and the county, Caltrans. It also includes an interagency consultation review group composed of the Air District, our local Air District, Caltrans, the Federal Highway Administration, and the EPA. Staff has prepared and completed the 2020 RTP SES in accordance with BCAG's public participation plan. 2 recent public meetings were held in November and September of this year via Zoom. And actually Zoom turned out to be a preferred way of having public meetings because we can record it and post them on our website for future reference. So that worked out really nice. In addition, public notices were placed in the local paper, through social media, on our bus fleet. So we go above and beyond. Included in the board's agenda packet is an executive summary of the RTP SES. Regarding the environmental impact report, BCAG staff has worked with Rincon Consultants, and they are with us in the Zoom meeting today in case there's any questions regarding the supplemental environmental impact report. It is a program level supplemental EIR. So anyway, the supplemental EIR was released for a 45-day public review period back in October 8th of this year. The BCAG board is required to certify the final supplemental EIR and find that it complies with the requirements of CEQA. In addition, the BCAG board must adopt a mitigation and monitoring and reporting program and findings, a statement of overriding considerations relative to the supplemental EIR, as we did back as part of the 2016, the current RTP SES. Also included in the board memo is that memorandum, a summary of CEQA findings of fact, statement of overriding considerations, and mitigation monitoring and reporting program. The document, the EIR, all the material is posted online on our website, including our public meetings. Staff's recommendations, staff requests the BCAG board open a public hearing for any final comments on the 2020 RTP SES and supplemental EIR. If no significant comments are received, staff recommends the BCAG board adopt the 2020 RTP SES by resolution 2020-21 number 06. The resolution also certifies the final supplemental environmental impact report, adopting findings and statement of overriding consideration, and the mitigation monitoring and reporting program. And the resolution also authorizes staff to make any final technical corrections as necessary to ensure timely state and federal approval. And also for the board's awareness, we did receive comments from Caltrans, which is typical, that mainly small technical corrections. Any questions?
Any questions or comments? Anybody here? Anybody online? This time we'll open a public hearing. Is there any public comments by email or phone or anything? No written comments, nothing?
The one thing I do want to point out is this 2020 RTP really is an interim document as we get through the post-campfire study, which is going to set the foundation for BCAG's planning assumptions, all the planning, the modeling, all that works that's being updated, and that will feed into the 2024 RTP SES.
Okay. Any questions or comments about that in the interim? So,
I just have one question. I was wondering, Ivan, when the expected update to this plan, when you are expecting to get it completed?
The 2024 RTP?
No, you said the taking into consideration the effects of the campfire.
That will feed into the 2024 RTP. And once the post-campfire study is done, because this document takes a couple of years to complete, we'll be starting soon after that.
Okay, so what you're saying is it's not going to happen until 2024.
Correct.
Okay.
But and because of that, this RTP can be amended at any time. And that's typically the case should somebody receive grant funding that wasn't anticipated. You know, we deal with it as projects come up.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And funding levels are very similar to the 2016 RTP.
any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll move approval.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Lambert seconds. Any discussion at all? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anybody opposed, say nay. Passes unanimously. I almost choked up. I think that's Steve's last motion ever. Wow. Okay, we're moving on for items for information. It's regional early action planning grant fund summary of recommended sub-allocation projects. Chris, I read that without glasses.
Thanks. At the October meeting, the BCAG board approved a resolution authorizing the remaining 75% of BCAG's regional early action planning grant funds are sort of to be accepted by BCAG to move forward with spending those funds. And at the time, we didn't have a great handle on exactly which projects were going to be funded and project descriptions and kind of the cost breakdown of where that money was going to go. And at that meeting in October, we indicated that we'd follow up with you in December and let you know those details. And so that's the purpose of this item, just to sort of bring you up to speed with which projects were finally funded with it and sort of what they entail. And so I think the board probably recalls that this REAP grant program, it allows BCAG to sub-allocate funds to member jurisdictions for grant eligible projects, which are generally those that lead to increased housing production in the region. And so, you know, we coordinated with the member jurisdiction planning staff to sort of determine what projects might be a good fit. And so we've got 5 here. The first one is kind of a joint project between Butte County and the city of Chico, although I think Butte County is actually going to be the lead. And that project is the development of a CEQA document for the North Chico Special Planning Area. They'll be developing an environmental impact report. And so essentially, you know, north side of Chico off of Hicks Lane, and eventually that'll lead to some housing development out in that area. And the total allocation for that project was $216,251. The second project was, it's another Butte County project. They're working with Lake Oroville Area Public Utility District, or LOPUD. And it'll fund the planning and design tasks for the Las Plumas area gravity sewer interceptor, which is going to be in southeast Oroville. And essentially this project is going to lead to the construction of a new regional sewer lift station, and also a force main pipeline near the intersection of Ophir Road and Lincoln Boulevard. And it'll be designed to meet current and future development needs in the area. The third project is the city of Biggs, and they'll be completing a phased annexation plan and also the associated zoning code amendments for about 578 acres on the east side of town, which will bring some land in there for some future housing development. And that's $160,000 for that project. And I forgot to mention the cost for the previous project for LOPUD, but that was $216,250. And then the fourth project is a temporary associate planner position for the city of Oroville in their planning and building department. And they've been receiving a lot of development applications down there, and they're a little tight. So this will provide 1 year of a part-time associate planner. And it'll be through a contract with a consultant firm. And that consultant will assist with, expediting development applications, conditional use permits, and that sort of thing. At a total cost of $46,000. And then the last one is just grant administration costs for BCAG associated with administering the grant and doing the required reporting and contracting and things like that for $24,000. So that's about all we had. Just wanted to point out also that those grant funds need to be expended by August of 2023. So we'll be monitoring the member jurisdictions sub-allocation projects and make sure that they're staying on track for that. So happy to answer any questions about that.
Any questions or comments? Any comments online, Zoom?
Chris, I just had one question on the North Chico project. Is that something that the county is going to do itself? Are there requirements, or do they job out the EIR, or how does that work?
They will job out the EIR. Yeah, they'll probably do a request for proposals and bring in a qualified firm.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll move on. I don't want to do it again. Number 8, congestion mitigation air quality program and highway improvement. Good.
Thank you. BCAG initiated a call for new congestion mitigation and air quality program funded projects and federal highway improvement program projects for funding consideration. Applications were due last month on November 5th. The purpose of the CMAQ program is to fund projects which reduce the region's non-attainment pollutants. That is the underlying requirement. As in the past, projects are ranked by the amount of emissions reduced, with regional equity also being considered. At the September BCAG board meeting, staff indicated that there was approximately $6.2 million for new projects to be incorporated into the new 2021 Federal Transportation Improvement Program, which is currently being worked on and is scheduled to be adopted by the BCAG board in February. In addition, BCAG received Federal Highway Improvement Program funding apportionment of approximately $1.6 million for new projects on the federal aid system. The fund was created through a previous appropriation act, and quite honestly, nobody knows if this program is going to carry forward in the new authorization. Staff received 2 project applications for funding consideration. The first one from the city of Chico is the Hagen Lane Business Park Access Improvement Project. The purpose is to develop 4 roundabouts near our offices here at Park Avenue and Midway, at East Park Avenue and Fair Street, at Hagen Lane and Midway, and Hagen Lane at Otterson Drive. The city is requesting $6.2 million. In addition, to the 1.6 million in the federal highway improvement program fund. So they're requesting it all. And really, staff is recommending approval of this project. Really, all 4 roundabouts need to be done at the same time in order for the emissions benefits to materialize. The second project is from Butte County for the Autry Lane South Rehabilitation Project. The county is requesting funding for just the preliminary engineering component for, I believe, 150,000 to really develop ADA accessibility and improve the walking conditions for the South Orville community. Only preliminary engineering is requested in order to leverage for a future active transportation program application through Caltrans in the future. If the board recalls, a couple of years ago, last time we did a CMAQ call for projects, we strategically utilized the CMAQ to size up active transportation program projects, which turned out pretty good for the region, since we do have over 40 million in those ATP projects underway. Staff supports the programming of the county's project. This is an information item, but it's presented for information and any feedback from the board. And those projects selected will be folded into the new 2021 FTIP.
Any questions, comments in the room?
Ivan, this is Deborah again.
Yes.
I was just wondering, you mentioned that if this program gets funded, is that due to the state budget? Is there talk that it could be cut?
Are you talking about the HIP funds?
Yeah, you just mentioned if
Yes.
this program goes forward.
Yeah, no, that's through the Federal Highway Administration.
Okay.
Yeah, and really until the FAST Act is reauthorized, we really don't know. This is a new funding that really came in 2018 as an apportionment. And the funding for 1 year was 570,000, the next year was 800,000, and the final year was the difference. So it was a little odd, a little bizarre, but we'll take it.
Yeah.
It's 1.6 million. And the caveat, it has to be on the federal aid system. And quite honestly, the other jurisdictions, we have 2 applications that came forward. Everybody has a full plate.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Saying none, we'll move on. Jim, Butte Regional Transit first quarter progress report.
Hey, good morning, board. This is the transit update for the first quarter, comparing things like ridership, expenses. And what we do is we break it down between we break it into 4 systems. We take our fixed route and paratransit, and then we divide it further as urban and rural. And that way we're able to look at things more precisely. Basically, during the last few months, it's been kind of challenging in comparisons, obviously, with COVID. There's been a disruption in ridership and reduction in service due to that. Here's what we have. Overall, the fixed route ridership during the first quarter of this fiscal year was down 53% comparison to last year at this quarter. However, that was a 17% increase over the fourth quarter of last year, because that's when COVID had its full effect during the fourth quarter. And so we're actually increased a little bit since the fourth quarter of last year. Fixed route service overall has basically remained the same as it normally is, with the exception that the Chico State student shuttle routes were reduced due to cancellation of all the buses on the Chico State campus. Consequently, Chico State was granted a reduction in their contract. We have an annual agreement with them, but because of reduced ridership, we've changed our contract out, which is having a severe impact on our fare revenue for the fixed route service. I'll talk a little more about when I talk about fixed route urban. However, BCAG plans to utilize the Federal CARES Act funds to help offset that. So we should be okay because of the CARES Act. Unlike the fixed route hours, which only saw a relatively small reduction in revenue hours, the paratransit services were basically cut in half. As paratransit is strictly on ridership reservations, when the ridership's down, their hours are going to go down. Overall, paratransit ridership during the first quarter was down 66% in comparison to the previous fiscal year. However, there was a slight improvement of 6% over the previous quarter. So even though they dipped really bad during the worst of the COVID, it's starting to slowly go back up. We've heard nothing official yet. It's our understanding that the TDA fare box requirement ratios will not be upheld during the pandemic. And we can't imagine they would be upheld. We've heard unofficially that they won't. So even though the fare box recovery ratio numbers are down, we understand that's not going to affect us this year. As far as the rural fixed route, it is meeting our fare box requirement of 10%. It's coming in at 11.5%. It's actually the only one of our 4 systems that is meeting fare box. Ridership for the quarter was down 47% from the prior year, but it's bounced back by 30% during from the last quarter. And expenditures and services supplies are within budgeted expectations. As far as the urban fixed route, it's not meeting the 20% requirement. It's actually right now as a 7% fare box recovery, which mainly is reflected in the loss of the Chico State fare revenue of nearly $70,000 per quarter. Ridership is still down 55% compared to the prior year, but it has rebounded 66% in the last quarter. So basically what this is saying is we had a certain amount of ridership that went way down at the beginning of COVID, and slowly got halfway back up to what we used to be. As far as the rural paratransit, it's below the 10% requirement, coming in at just over 5% of recovery for the quarter. The ridership for that quarter was down 56% from the prior year, and but it's nearly the same as it was the last quarter. Service hours are down 35% for the quarter. And expenditures for services and supplies are in line with the budget. The efficiency of the system fell to 2.3 passengers per hour, and that's mainly because we're scheduling fewer passengers per ride to try to keep social distancing and meet the CDC guidelines and not having too many people on the bus. As far as the rural paratransit, it's coming in at 5.6%, which is below the 10% requirement. Ridership is down 70% compared to the prior year, but also has rebounded 28% from last quarter. So again, it's rising. The service hours are down 56% for the quarter. Expenditures for services and supplies are lower than budgeted. And the efficiency of the system, again, just like the rural system, is 2.4 passengers per hour compared to the 3.5 passengers we had the prior year, again, due to scheduling less rides per vehicle. Overall, in the system, there were no accidents. I'm happy to report no accidents in the previous quarter, despite over 337,000 miles driven. So we're really happy to hear that. And there were 8 valid complaints in the quarter, which is in reason for the 118,000 passengers we served. So that's basically the first quarter report. Are there any questions from the board?
Questions or comments? Any questions on Zoom? I have one.
Okay.
Is this sustainable? I mean, is it really truly sustainable if we don't rebound? How do we fund it, run the buses empty and all that?
It's the 2 things. One, I know some systems are definitely cutting a lot of their routes because of not having funding. Overall, the system is 80 to 90% run through subsidies from the government subsidies. So they continue, like the CARES Act is how we're staying sustainable now. So it all depends. If we didn't have those coming in, then it would not be sustainable. But it all depends on government funding coming in.
And then I'm curious, when you cut money from the college's budget, do you still run the same routes?
No, we reduced those.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, we have modified those routes.
You answered my question.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, just to make sure, any other questions or comments? We'll move on. Thank you. 2021 board meeting dates, John?
Just a calendar of the dates for next year's BCAG board meetings, and we'll see how things play out with COVID and all that. I assume things will continue to lock down a little bit more. I think actually we go into the next level tonight, midnight or whatever. So we might be doing board meetings. We'll obviously be continuing to do board meetings via Zoom. So we'll just have to play that as it comes. But this just lets you know the dates for next year's board meetings.
Yeah, I broke down and got a camera and a microphone.
Yeah. We might have to, everybody remotely
I
come in next month. So we'll let you know that.
All right, any questions or comments about the schedule? By anyone here or home or wherever? Okay, are there any public comments by email or mail or phone in or anything like that? Okay, there's none then. Now we're going to adjourn to a closed session. This will be sent to you separately, and it's a public employee annual evaluation. So non-board members, I guess we're going to drop you.
We're gonna, yeah.
Put them in a waiting room.
Drop out.
We'll put you in a waiting room if you care to stick around to hear what happened. And the rest of you, please stay online.
Probably easier, but
We're not sure who.
there's Deborah, there's Tammy.
They're board members.
Is that everybody?
That's fine. Yeah, we got it.
Okay, and then I'm gonna.
Awesome. Should be on the right corner. It's back. That's all.
Okay, is everybody back on that wants to be on?
They're in the waiting room.
Yeah, get them out of the waiting room. Okay, everyone's here. It's unfortunate I got to announce that John quit today and we're seeking, no. We just approved the continuation of his contract for 2 more years and it was unanimous, so. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And so we're going to adjourn. The next meeting, BCAG, has been scheduled for Thursday, January 28th, 2021. Stay tuned, whether we got to do it all by Zoom, in this room, or the big room. We don't know yet. All right. Everybody have a blessed Christmas. Happy holidays if you don't believe in that. And we'll see you after the first of the year.
Thank you, everybody.